Hello, everybody. Welcome to Deadline's virtual Sundance studio. My name is Amanda Nduka, and I have the pleasure of being here with some of the team behind one of the films that are in competition, Wild Indian. So I'd like to first welcome director and writer Lyle Mitchell Corbin Jr.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How
And
are you,
then
Amanda?
actors Michael Greyeyes
Hi,
and
Amanda.
Cheske Spencer.
Hello.
Hey
Hello.
guys, thank you for
Hi.
joining us. So Lyle, I'm going to start with you. Watching this film, it was really hard to put the sort of emotions that this film kind of brought out. It was, it was a hard watch. It was tragedy kind of begets tragedy. There was no clear good versus evil. And I read that this story was very personal to you. So can you just tell us about the genesis of this project and what sparked the idea the idea for the concept?
Sure. Yeah. I was living in Berkeley, California, and I I didn't know what I wanted to write next. I was in my mid-20s, and I went back to my reservation, and I was kind of like feeling pretty disconnected from my community, and just kind of where I was in my life at that point, and also where I was living. So I just started writing about those feelings, and I was kind of started writing about my cousins, and that was the genesis for Teto's character. And I didn't do anything awful like Michael, but I did feel disconnected like Michael's character did.
Mm. And you, okay, so you sort of tell the story about this, Michael in the film going through, a very abusive upbringing, being part of, a reservation. Why was it important for you to tell this story?
It wasn't, I'm just a writer, I was kind of just airing out the things that I had in my mind, and I think that's how everybody should approach the narratives that they put together.
Mm.
There's definitely something that I just wanted to express that was going on in my head, and that's where I started with it.
Yeah. And for the actors, can you just maybe just give us a little introduction to your character and tell us about what you connected with when you were first introduced to your roles? Michael, we'll start with you.
Yeah, when I play the character Makwa, who changes his name to Michael during the course of the narrative. So when I first read the script, I knew immediately that I wanted to play this character. I think mostly for me because the film placed an Indigenous man inside a narrative frame usually reserved for people from other cultures, right? So the scope of his story, I love the way you described it, that it's really difficult to place, like judgments, like this is a good character, this is a bad character, on the world that Lyle created for us, because I was operating from the same way, like the things that Michael does are horrid, abhorrent. So I had to find a way to understand him. And
yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you sort of find that humanity in somebody? Because obviously this person, he's not a bad guy in like there are things that have brought him to where he was. So how do you kind of find that humanity in a character?
I think it was in Lyle's writing, absolutely, because there were just moments where Michael would say something really profoundly hopeful. Like I remember in the scene with Chaske and I. The characters are talking about like, well, what kind of opportunities do you have? And Michael says, you can be anything here, right? Like, so he's this incredible, it's like the American question. It's like there's this dream, the potential, and then there's your history, and it's all tangled up. It's all complex. He's got his family, he's got his community, and yet he's got these images and dreams that he wants to achieve, no matter how he gets to them.
And then Jessica, what about you? What were your initial reactions when you first read this screenplay?
Oh, when I first read it, I thought of a Sam Shepard play That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Was it was very deals with a lot of almost like a Cain and Abel story, and that the relationship between Makwa and Teto, and also that Teto is more like the ghost of Christmas past for Makwa, and he you see Makwa's journey through from where he came from to where he is now, and the stuff he had to do to to hide his identity or whatever he was trying to do to change his name. And then in comes Teto, who reminds him of his past. And I thought for Teto, the character, is nothing like me. So for me, it was really investing a lot of energy and pulling from a lot of people I've known in my past. And, like I would say, Lyle, I have cousins as well who have gone down the Teto path. And it was just drawing on that and trying to make it my own so I can bring it to the table.
And then like, obviously, like we've, Michael, you said this too, but like this, it's hard to really, there's no happy ending to this film. But like I said, it's hard to figure it's hard to figure out who to root for, but you also feel sorry for the people that you're rooting for because of the circumstances. Lyle, there's not a lot of films that we see out there, and I was actually thinking about this when I was writing. I was thinking about all the films that we've seen that centered around Indigenous people or Native Americans. There's not that many, or even at all, that story is the center of the film. Was there any hesitation, because you mentioned this is a personal story, was there any hesitation of putting this out there? And then I have a follow-up after that.
No, not really. I mean, I didn't expect it to get made, it wasn't even really a question of like, is this responsible? It was like, I didn't even really look at it like it was going to get made. It was just a way to express myself. I suppose.
And do you sort of have a what do you hope that people take away? Is there a certain message that you hope people take away after seeing this film?
No, definitely not. I mean, I never approach any thing. I don't have any kind of goals to create like a larger narrative. It's just a little, a film that just expresses something about natives, I think.
Can you sort of talk about like the journey of getting this film made? Because this is your first directorial feature, correct? What? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah. What would you like to know?
Oh, just like how, just going from this concept to now it's we're seeing it on the big screen, and then also taking on your first directorial project. Can you just kind of talk about that experience?
Yeah. I mean, I got as much hand-holding through the experience as you possibly could. I went through the Sundance Writers and Directors Lab, and was mentored and kind of fostered by a lot of like world-class filmmakers, a lot of people that I've looked up to long before I ever met them. And yeah, I mean, there couldn't have been a better experience. I got, 50 rounds of notes, not that many, but I got a lot of rounds of notes that drastically changed the script. And I was able to like workshop scenes at the Sundance Lab with actually Chaske. Chaske was playing Michael's character at the lab, and it really got a chance to evolve just through those processes in a way that I don't think even filmmakers much further advanced in their careers get a chance to do.
Yeah.
Can I jump in, Amanda?
Okay, yeah, of course.
I have a thought. Like Lyle is a brilliant director. He's a wonderful writer. He's a really modest guy, also. I want to add that Indigenous stories always come from where we live, like who we are in a contemporary context. But the thing that strikes me about Wild Indian, the thing that strikes me about contemporary films that we make, are that they're incredibly complex, and you can look at them as documents into much larger questions, right? Like for me, I think the relationship that Chaske and I have in terms of the kind of men that we're presenting you know, as examples of contemporary Indigenous people are, you know, radically different. You know, I think we address things like male toxicity, you know, in the telling of the story. I think in understanding our history, I think we're dealing with layers of intergenerational trauma and how people recover, how people survive. So I think when you look at Indigenous stories, even our comedies, there's a complexity to who we are, where we come from, that's always present, even when we tell personal stories.
And then along that line, Chaske, what about you? What are you excited for people to see when they see this?
I'm excited because I really do feel the movie is a very hard-hitting film. I want people to go on the journey for these two characters. I really love the writing of the script. I think that when people, at the end of the movie, they should, when I saw the movie, I watched past the credits where it just hit me and it stuck with me for a few days. And that's for me, that is the sign of a really good movie. And you have to work it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want the audience to also see is that, yes, like Michael said, there's complexity in these characters. And a lot of the stuff, the films that have been out before, you know, there's been some good Native films that have come out, but you don't get to really see them. You know, they're not really promoted as much. And what I liked about this is that I don't want to say it's a mainstream film, but it kind of is. I think it really touches on what's going on around today as well. You know, we live in a pretty uncertain time, and I feel the film carries that with its tone.
Yeah, right. Well, guys, sorry, we're out of time. I want to thank you again for joining us today, and congrats on the film. Very, very good. I highly recommend it. It's playing at various times during the festivals. Great job, guys. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
Thank you.